Alright, so today we're going to be talking about a new movie that I just saw that I was actually really interested in coming from the trailers, and that is The Woman in the Yard. It's supposed to be a new horror movie or scary movie thriller, and it stars basically only 3 actors in this whole movie. It follows a woman named Roxanne? Something like that. And she goes through, it starts with her kind of daydreaming, looking at her lost husband who was lost in a car accident. And they were both in the car together. They got in a little dispute, and she kind of has her inner demons. She has battled depression, and she really has this, lost kind of cause in her that is kind of following her and leads to her kind of daydreaming this lady in her rearview mirror while she's driving. And she ends up swerving out of the way, hits a tree, and her husband ends up passing away. And again, she feels the guilt from it. She ends up not telling her son and daughter, who her son is about 14, 15 years old, and her daughter is about, I want to say 6 or 7, that she was driving. She ends up covering it up and saying that he was driving. And later on, it's uncovered when, she ends up going deeper and deeper into, kind of a crazy state. But it really starts out with them kind of just being around the house and talking. Kind of the powers went out around the house. She isn't really even going to get food because she's so depressed. She's basically staying in her room. And again, she only has one good leg from the car accident. She ends up breaking her leg, so she's in kind of some crutches. And then they're all sitting on the dinner table, and all they see is just a woman in the yard. Again, that's the movie. That's in all black. You can't see her face. So they're kind of like, kind of weird. Like, maybe it's someone that's homeless or whatever. That's kind of what they're getting at. And then they go on, and the mom is like, okay, I'm going to go out and check it out. And she keeps talking to the lady, and the lady's not responding. She ends up getting closer, and the lady in black's like, this is what you wished for. So at the time, in the audience, you're kind of like, what are you talking about? And then again, the lady's like, today's the day, kind of in this creepy ass, weird voice that's kind of like, oh, okay. And it kind of right immediately, the Roxanne is like, oh, okay, like she knows what they're talking about. But again, as the audience, you don't know what's going on. She goes back in the house. She tells the kids not to worry about it. Obviously, the kids are worrying about it because there's a weird, creepy lady in the front lawn. And it gets on to where, the oldest son is kind of like thinking that he has to be now the man of the house. And he is, kind of getting to, it with his mom, and he's trying to protect his sister. So he goes out, tries to, go out and, talk to the lady. The lady's like, basically tells him that his mom lied about the car accident, whatever. And, he goes in, and that's where the kid turns against the mom. Not in, not physically, but kind of like, oh, okay, like, I don't really trust her right now. And that's where it's kind of like, oh, there's a deeper lying story, which is great because you don't really know where this is going at this point in time, really until the end. You kind of get hints at it as you look back, but you're kind of like, okay. So it turns out that the lady is actually, the depressed state and kind of like a demon-esque of the Roxanne lady, and it's kind of like an alter ego-ish, whatever, from her depression and suicide, or the lady wants her to commit, and that's where it gets to towards the end after this big fight where the lady in black gets her power from light, and that's kind of how the battle is. And there is a lot of like different forms. She ends up turning into the daughter at one point in time, and it is crazy because at one point you don't really know what you're kind of like, oh, is this reality, is this a dream, is this whatever, because she keeps going in and out of like these psychotic episodes that someone with like schizophrenia or really serious depression would have. And that's where it's like, wow, like this is a very detailed story, and you're kind of like following along. You know, you get a little confused at times, but you look back at the hints that are thrown around and you're like, oh, okay. So then it gets to the end, you know, they kind of fast forward after these huge battles, and she tells the kids to go to their neighbor's house, because she is going to end up, you know, taking her own life, unfortunately, because of all her demons, and she wants to protect her kids. And there's this huge, like, kind of very scary, like, demon, obviously the demon-esque, trying to put the gun to her head, and you know, it's very graphic and crazy, and you're like, whoa, and she fights off the demon in the end, and kind of, you know, conquers her fears, conquers her depression and whatever for her kids. And then it kind of fast forwards to her coming out of this garage where she was, and she meets her kids who are coming back, and they're like, you know, is that lady ever gonna come back? And she's like, if she does, you know, we'll be prepared. And the movie ends. And to be honest, like it was an hour and a half of a movie, and it was really jam-packed with crazy stuff, action and whatever. And you know, I just went through the movie, whatever. But to be honest, like, it is a solid movie. You know, it goes through a lot of forums talking about, you know, crazy, serious depression, and also how the demons that she's battling are crazy from the guilt that she has of lying and going through, and also trying to take care of her kids, but she can't even take care of herself. And it just keeps getting deeper and deeper, even until the end. And you're kind of like, whoa, like a lot of it piles on at once, and that ending is very, very, you know, it hits. And so I really think if you want to go see this movie, it's worth the time. I think it's only an hour and 25 minutes movie runtime, and from the beginning it's very, you know, very quick, very, you know, jam-packed with stuff. And I know you watch this video, you know what's going on, but at the end of the day, it's worth it to go see, because even the things that I described, it can't be described with words. You have to actually see it, and you know, like, it is a thriller and horror. There is some jump scare stuff like that, but nothing crazy. It's just more kind of the storyline of how, you know, serious it is. And to be honest, it's a movie that I think is worth seeing in the theater. At first, you know, some horror movies, some, you know, whatever, you're kind of like, eh. And to be honest, it was a solid movie. I wouldn't say it was spectacular. I wouldn't say it was unreal, but it was a solid movie that you can go see and be like, wow, okay, I got something from it. Or in the end, you're like, oh crap, like it was kind of a crazy movie. But let me know if you guys are thinking about going to see it. Let me know. I know there's a bunch of movies coming out that me and Ian are going to see. I know Ian's going to talk about the Minecraft movie soon, Chicken Jockey, and I think we're going to go see Fantastic Four Thunderbolts. I know I'm going to see that new Michael B. Jordan movie. I don't know what it's called, but it's another kind of horror-esque film. We'll talk about that. And at the end of the year, there'll be some Game of Thrones stuff. It'll be a pretty, you know, jam-packed year of some TV shows, some, you know, some movies, stuff like that. And you can see it all on this channel.